Hey again, this is Abby Grace, one of the social media heads at Song of Arms, and I'm here to talk about Book 2 of the Aeneid. After Dido asks Aeneas to recount his tale of how he ended up in Carthage, he tells her that retelling this story would bring a lot of grief and a lot of sorrow to him. But he does indulge her, and he does tell her the story of what happened, and that is what happens in the next 2 books. So Aeneas begins his tale talking about the very end of the Trojan War, when the Trojan horse was presented. Basically, the Trojan horse had all of these Greek soldiers hidden inside them, while the rest of them were hiding out a little ways away from Troy, waiting for these best soldiers to come out and open the gates for them so that they could take the city of Troy. They send one of their young Greek soldiers, Sinon, with the horse to tell the Trojans of what had happened, which was an entire front for what actually was going to happen. So Sinon explains that he was able to escape the Greeks when they were attempting to sacrifice him to appease Minerva, and the Trojans take pity on him and listen to his story. So basically he says that Ulysses, who is Odysseus in Greek mythology, desecrated a temple to Minerva, who is Athena in Greek mythology, and so Minerva turned on the Greeks. The Greeks have been wanting to flee Troy for some time, but because of Minerva's anger, they had fierce storms that were preventing them, and they were planning to sacrifice Sinon to appease the goddess. They also made the Trojan horse to appease Minerva, and they said that Minerva would join the side of the Trojans if they installed the horse within their walls. But if they were to desecrate the horse or damage the horse in any way, then Minerva would turn on them again. The Trojans obviously agree to this, and they take the Trojan horse within their walls, which spells disaster for the Trojans as the Greek soldiers come out of the belly of the horse, open the gates, and take the city of Troy. Laocoon, a prophet from the Trojan side, attempted to say that this was not a good idea, that this is a trap, but 2 serpents come up, take Laocoon and his sons, and then slither up into the temple of Minerva, which the Trojans take as a sign that they must appease the goddess. In the night, Sinon opens the belly of the horse to allow all the Greeks out, and they kill the Trojans' guards that are guarding the front gates. They open the gates, and they start to take the city of Troy. Now, one of the fallen leaders of the Trojans, Hector, one of the sons of Priam, comes to Aeneas in a dream, informs him that Troy is falling and burning, and tells him that he needs to escape. Aeneas attempts to go with a handful of his men to try and stop this, but Troy is in flames. They make it to the palace, and Polites, the youngest son of Priam and Hecuba, the king and queen of Troy, is slain by Paris, who is Achilles' son. Then Neoptolemus, another name for Paris, goes and slaughters Priam on his own throne. Aeneas is really overcome with grief at seeing this. He's the cousin of Polites, he's the nephew of Priam, so watching his family be slaughtered by the Greeks is very devastating. And then he sees Helen of Sparta, the whole reason for the Trojan War. So he goes and he wants to kill her. He's very angry over this, he's blaming her for this whole tragedy, but Venus comes to him and says that it wasn't her fault, and so he should not actually go and kill her. Aeneas returns home and tries to convince his father to leave, but Anchises does not want to leave. He states that he would rather die in the city than leave. However, a couple of signs come. Aeneas' son Ascanius has a harmless tongue of fire that appears on his forehead, and then there is a falling star, and Anchises is convinced to leave the city with Aeneas, who takes him on his back, grabs Ascanius by the hand, has Creusa, his wife, at his back, and begins leaving the city with all of his household gods. However, with all the chaos, Creusa ends up getting separated from the group. Aeneas gets his father and son and the rest of the people he has to the outer gates and then returns to attempt to search for Creusa. However, he does not find her. He finds her shade, or her spirit, who informs him that she has been slaughtered and that he has a fate outside of Troy and must sail to the city of Latium in Italy, where he has a whole war to fight and a wife waiting for him. Thank you guys again for following along. I'm going to have more installments of this series going on through all 12 of the books of the Aeneid. You can also join our Discord, which will be linked in the comments. It's also in our bio. And that's going to have more of the updates on the actual musical. Thank you guys again for following along with this. It means the world to us. Thank you.